Alrighty, so in this video I'm going to be covering physical modeling in synthesis. So in Ableton, physical modeling can only really be done in the instrument called Collision, which can be found here in Categories, Instruments, Collision. Physical modeling is basically synthesis using parameters of real instruments. So things like using mallets, strings, tubes, and other resonant sort of features to create your own sort of sound that sounds real but is actually synthesized. When we first open Collision, we'll be greeted with this unforgiving screen that Ableton has put no actual time into making it look good, just a bunch of knobs that confuse the hell out of everyone. So to start off, we're given a xylophone-esque sort of sound. To begin, let's go to our mallet generator. So to start off, we'll start with all of our parameters down to sort of make it a little easier to explain what everything does. So volume, obviously, as you could probably guess, is the volume of the mallet. We then have the noise of the mallet, which is the high end or mostly the impact of the mallet. And then we have stiffness. Stiffness is probably best described as the tension of the mallet. So down at 0% we have a very soft sort of impact. And if we increase it, we have more of an actual impact on it. So at around 50% you'll have a normal sort of medium sort of hit, whereas at 100% you'll have someone smacking the absolute hell out of a bloody mallet. And the color is just the color of the mallet's noise. And now here we can actually adjust the parameters of the noise. So here we have a frequency response of the noise, and we have the noise envelope. These can be used to manipulate the sound of the mallet. So here on the frequency response, we can play with the low pass of the noise. So it isn't really audible at the moment. It can only be really audible once we throw up the resonance and peak it up at the high end to give it a sort of a bell chimey sort of sound. Really not pleasant to the eardrums. And here with your envelope, you're allowed to give the noise, for example, some attack. Make some pretty weird sounds. With Collision, you're also given the two resonators. For this example, I think it's probably easiest to stick to the first resonator rather than two at the same time. And you're also able to link these with that button. But for now, let's just stick with the first resonator. So basically, your resonator is your carrier of the sound, and your mallet, or in Ableton's terms, the excitator, or for us normal folk, exciter, is more of the character of the sound and can give you a little more options with your sounds. Resonators allow you to sort of play around with the tuning as well as the pitch envelope. So here we'll start off with, we have our mallet and sort of tune it down. And we can play with the fine tuning. You can also throw an automation onto that to make it sound pretty weird. We have the pitch envelope. This can also be used to make a little more variation to your sounds. So now we get to the bread and butter of the resonator. Here we're given 7 options as our carrier. We have beam, marimba, string, membrane, plate, pipe, and tube, each with their own sort of characteristic. To demonstrate the different type of resonators, I'll switch off the noise, keep the mallet on, just to get a feel of what they do. So we have our beam, a marimba, string, more analogy sort of sound, membrane, plate, pipe, and your tube. So now as we go further into the resonator we'll find ourselves with a little XY grid here. This is your decay and radius of the sound. Moving this around will give you a whole different sort of feel with your set parameter. For this, I'll be using the tube as it's the most noticeable. And then we have our controls down the left of the XY. To control these, we're only able to use the plate. So our ratio will sort of give ourselves a bit of a dissonant sound with the plate. Brightness as well, you could guess it. Brightness. And you have your inharmonics. As well as your listing L and R. This can give you a sense of space in your sound. And your hit is basically your impact on the plate. So at 0 we'll have no real hit. As we increase it, we'll have a little sound. The bleed is sort of your unprocessed and your processed signal sort of gelled together. So really there's endless possibilities with this sound. So let's just go ahead and make something on the spot. So yeah, so now I've got myself a little puppy sort of sound. And I have a little MIDI clip here that I can throw in here that I made earlier. See how it sounds. Like it a lot better without the reverb. Bring down the attack to give it less of a punch. Just like that, you can make pretty much any sort of kind of sound. Like, yeah. So to further explain it, here is something that I made a little bit earlier. A sort of San Holo sort of sounding sound. So that's just using your excitator with nothing special on it, just going through the string resonator with a little less brightness, a little bit of inharmonics to increase the key value, some pitch enveloping to sort of give it that little whew sound, and yeah. So Collision is a pretty weird instrument, really. It's It's pretty versatile, and yeah, it's something that you won't use often, but it'll take you about a week or so to wrap your head around it, and when you do, you could probably make any kind of sound that you wanted with this World Zero stuff. So yeah, catch you guys later.